I'm right here again, and you're joining me on my Jerome Wright channel. Alright, I have to go real quick and all. I only have 15 minutes for this video to go up on YouTube. So, having said that, this is an image that I'm going to decode. This image appears in a kid's animal park in Nairobi, Kenya. Okay, this is a ancient image that's depicted on the wall. I guess it's sculptured on the wall there. So if you Google man washing man's penis in kids animal park in Kenya and go to images, you'll find this image. This was taken by a website, a tourist, and it was put on a blog site. Okay, so you go there and you'll see this image. This is of a man supposedly washing another man's penis. Now, while he's putting something in his eye, that's what the description is of this is now, people. This is incredible. But anyway, this man is a hunchback man. All right, we associate this guy with Frankenstein, with science, where there's a scientist, a mad scientist. He's altering the DNA of mankind, or altering himself, or doing something along those lines, dealing with medicine. Okay, so therefore, automatically, you should be seeing that if this man is washing, this man's bent over. We know what he already is symbolic of. So he's washing another man's penis, so this doesn't fly over. What is he doing? He's taking DNA from that man's penis. You know why? Because this is what is in my discoveries. All of these bizarre images represents DNA extraction, and then there's the mythological science behind this guy, where it's actually, this is what this guy does. He's a assistant to a mad scientist, Frankenstein, or anybody else that shows that that there's a genetic altering. Everything that I'm stating is right here. You see what I'm saying? So now let's take the other things that are there that support what I'm saying. It's my position that this guy here, if you look closely at it, whenever there's DNA being represented, the pineal gland is always the main thing that's actually be discussed, because through the pineal gland, there's genetic change. That's throughout ancient history. But if you look at the hair in these guys, Renaissance artists use an encryption style to put things in their hair. If you look at the tall guy's hair with the head tilted back, you notice that he transforms into some type of ungodly alien-like creature. You notice that? But what they don't see is that he has a snake growing out of his neck and coming around and eating back on itself. This is a snake. This is symbolic of a snake eating its tail, meaning cyclination of genes. There's the eye, here's the open mouth, and you see the jawline, almost like a king cobra, the way they go back. This snake is eating back in on itself. Most people don't realize that through the body of reptiles, man emerged genetically, and this is what this is all about. I can show you over and over and over and over again. Okay, this is where this is at, people. You see the snake's head coming back over. Now, in this guy's head, it's the same exact thing. If you look closely, they're encrypted, multi-dimensional images. Okay, if you look closely at his head, you're gonna have to Google. In fact, I can bring up something close. You can see the different types of, if you look closely in the hair, if you Google the image and download it, you can see it for yourself, people. They're multi-dimensional images in the hair, which represents different genes, reptile genes, which were utilized to do a genetic bridging and then an extraction. Through semen and through blood, this is what takes place. Now, this guy has an extraordinary look. So, oh, by the way, and there's always records of it. Notice at the back wall here, there's a cattle-like creature over there. Notice the back wall, how the back wall has these different and unusual, bizarre designs. It's my position that it's similar to what is going on here. You know what these are? Structured cells for skin, for microorganisms. And it's actually showing you, this is this is one for skin. People, there's a record on the back wall which is describing what is going on here in both walls. If you see this, the circles, the diamonds, and all of that, all of these descriptions back here on the wall is what you can find in defining and reading into that of cells. The diamonds, the circles, the squares with lines coming at them looking like suns. All of this stuff can be found in models of reading specific cell groups, which dealing with animals and humans. This is what's on the wall. Now this is in Kenya. People, there is a serious problem with what is going on around us, and it's amazing that our most world's leading experts, things like this can get underneath past the radar. Here's another a nucleus of a cell. Again, these identifying features that are in here can be realized back here on the wall. Now, here's the National Museum of Kenya. Amazingly enough, on the National Museum, this insignia. Again, you see this? The way this comes up and goes around, and there's a spiraling circle inside of there. Again, this is a sign that can be equated to DNA. What is that doing there? I bet if you were to ask anyone what do that symbol mean, they do not know, or they claim that they do not know. But here I'm telling you that you can take that sign and that symbol and equate it with something with dealing along with DNA and describing structured cells in Africa. This, people, is what is going on around us. And yesterday I did a video and I described to you about the Great Britain's symbols. And again, a snake turned back in on itself and the king's crown, representing man, and bridged over with that of reptilian. And in the nucleus, there are readable signs that you can find in structured cells. Descriptions, even down to the R and the E, and the R and the supposedly E in there, you can find this in structured cells. Again, if you go to the model, that R and M looking thing, or R and E, is in structured cells. All of this, they have taken it and put a spin on it. This image is describing nothing less than a snake going back in on itself. Cyclination of genes, which were described and utilized in our ancient history, which you know nothing about. But ancient royalty and religion enjoy this hidden knowledge of all of this. Now let's go back to this guy with the back being bent over. We see this guy every day in our lives. You know, at the end of papacies, isn't it amazing how popes end up looking like this? It's amazing. Now, this guy is a professional penis washer. All right. So his back is obviously bent over. He just developed a back deformity because of that. Now, in your area, how about your farmers? I call this a farmer back, where you see farmers bent over. Remember the older farmers? Everybody probably run into one every once in a while. Well, the farmer's back become bent over because of him farming all of his life. The whole 70 or 80 years of his life, that's all he did. Spent his life in the farm before other people came along and he started hiring out. But you get farmers back. I've seen masons, brick masons that carry blocks all their lives. They get mason backs. Well, this guy has gotten a penis washing back. But you know, it's amazing because popes throughout their papacy, now look at this guy. Popes throughout their papacy, I have to develop the same back, that hunchback back there. Let me go. Oh, here's another one on this side. Hold on. Look at the back of that guy, that hunchback. These people, these popes, what kills me about this is I mean, they enjoy a level of royalty where they get the best medicines and the best of everything. I mean, this guy should not be aging with no deformity in their back, in my imagination. Unless it is induced by something, a cult-like practice. Look at this guy here. In the chair. And bent over. Just like this guy is. Now this guy is washing a dick. Or supposedly washing a dick. I'm telling you that it's DNA extraction. In fact, I even see a device down there. It looks like a knife or a scalpel, like if he's extracting DNA. Like he's extracting DNA, just like I'm stating. Splicing, gene splicing. This is what this is implying. So how do popes get their back blown out to a point to where they're like this? What are you going to say, that they're over the desk reading? Are we going to say that they're that is from them kneeling and praying throughout their papacy? I mean, at what point do somebody say, well, I don't want my back to look like that? Well, it's my position that there's something going on with this DNA extraction where these guys are become mules. And what happens with mules is that their back is the #1 target for everything, because you're carrying genes. I'm saying that this sclerosis of the back, of the spine, is occurring through these people using their bodies as a genetic sacrificial vessel for genes. And through everything that they're engaging in, this is the reason why popes at the end of their papacy end up having these backs that looks like they have deformities in them. This guy here looks no different, even to the cape that this guy has on. In my mind, it's describing nothing more or less. Oh, here's my Pope Pontinera. Here's this Pontinera character. I have this in my discovery. I have a discovery on this. You got to see this video, because there's a reptilian head down on the side that I did on that. You got to see this. I didn't even realize that he was in this book, Pope Pacharia. Look, the humps in the back. It's like popes strive in their papacy to get a look, and they look like, in the end, they look like monsters in the face. Like Frankenstein creations. This is what they look like. You look at popes and then go and Google, at the end of their papacy, they become bent over, hunched over, and with skin cancer, pretty much. Even the prince, I think Prince Charles, the one that is married to Elizabeth, Queen Elizabeth, even him, you look at the skin cancers in these people. You know what that comes from, people? Cauldron-like cocktails where they're using their bodies as genetic vessels to carry genes that they should not be carrying in the first place. Genes of animals, genes of humans. It's a cocktail that they take into their body to cause for genetic change, and then babies are created. There's a breakdown of it. They use their bodies as pretty much as, like I said, as a gene pool, a gene carrying pool that changes their DNA makeup. Now, you would never know that. You know why? Because they have this privilege of having their own doctors, their own technical physicians and hospitals at, you know what, at a free cost, because you guys are providing it to them, and then don't have the privilege of knowing what's going on. Look at the Vatican, who protects their bloodline, and look at ancient rooted royalty that protects their bloodline. But look at this, people. Again, back to this. In Kenya, you have a man playing with another man's penis, and it's describing DNA altering, and it actually has DNA blocks in the back, which are describing how it's being done. Readable grails to what is going on. And then if that doesn't beat all, in their hair are describing the creatures and the deep genes that they're describing of extracting. My name is Jerome Wright. I'm leaving that there. I'm going to create another video. Thank you. I'm right here again, and you're joining me on my Jerome Wright channel. All right. I have to go real quick and all. I only have 15 minutes for this video to go up on YouTube. So having said that, this is an image that I'm going to decode. This image appears in a kid's animal park in Nairobi, Kenya. Okay, this is a ancient image that's penis. Now, while he's putting something in his eye, that's what the description is of this is. Now, people, this is incredible. But anyway, this man is a hunchback man. All right, we associate this guy with Frankenstein, with science, where there's a scientist, a mad scientist. He's altering the DNA of mankind, or altering himself, or doing something along those depicted on the wall. I guess it's sculptured on the wall there. So if you Google man washing man's penis in kids animal park in Kenya and go to images, you'll find this image. This was taken by a website, a tourist, and it was put on a blog site. Okay, so you go there and you'll see this image. This is of a man supposedly washing another man's penis. Those lines dealing with medicine. Okay, so therefore, automatically, you should be seeing that if this man is washing, this man's bent over. We know what he already is symbolic of. So he's watching another man's penis, so this doesn't fly over. What is he doing? He's taking DNA from that man's penis. You know why? Because this is what is in my discoveries. All of these bizarre images represents DNA extraction. And then there's the mythological science behind this guy, where it's actually, this is what this guy does. He's a assistant to a mad scientist, Frankenstein, or anybody else that shows that that there's a genetic altering. Everything that I'm stating is right here. You see what I'm saying?